Hey everyone, this is Venus from CMS-Connected. Today we are at Sitecore Symposium 2017 in Vegas, and right now I'm joined by Joe Henriques, VP of Sitecore's Innovation, to talk about their recent research on personalization. Hi Joe, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, recently, Sitecore released a very interesting study on personalization, which is a very hot topic with everyone. Yep. So I was curious to hear your thoughts on the findings, and is there any really interesting finding that you have never expected to hear?
Well, the findings was great. I mean, just having that information, I think, is gold for us as we make decisions. But there's two things that kind of really jumped out at me. One was that 54% of personalization is being done on a single interaction. And I assumed at this point in time that we've gone past that.
Sure.
We know that people, sometimes they buy for other people, or and it's a journey, and it's all about collecting a whole entire data set of individuals to know the persona, to actually have an active, personalized conversation with them. Yeah. And I thought we were past that as a marketer or a merchandiser, and that kind of jumped out at me. The other thing that jumped out at me, I thought, was the 60%, or as number one reason, I think it was 60%, of organizations having difficulty with personalization was about customers not sharing that information with them, or inability to collect that information because of that, the customers not wanting that information collected. And that really struck me as an interesting finding, because I think organizations are really not thinking about this as a partnership.
Yeah.
And it struck me that they haven't figured that out yet, right? In collecting data about someone, you have to give them something in return.
Absolutely.
And I think what it showed me is they weren't thinking that I need to make this a relationship and it can't go one way.
No,
so
definitely
those are two things that really jumped out at me that was a little surprising.
So do you think it is the reason why it's been taking so long for merchandisers and marketers to deliver, personalized but consistent experiences?
I think that is some of the problem. I think the two things I see, I talk to merchandisers, marketers, executives at our customers, and even in our partners who deal with these individuals on a daily basis. And the two things that really jump out at me that are holding them back is, one, is just the siloedness of data. And if you think about, we do these email campaigns, and these email groups doing this, and this, then you have your order history here, and then you have your social information here, and they're not connecting or talking to each other. So this single view isn't there, and they're, individuals are scratching their head to try to figure out how I can do that. And then the other thing is, what we found is, though executives say that data and personalization are crucial to them, they have to make it a mandate within their organization, and they have to be a part of the solution. They can't just tell people, this is important, go do it. Executives have to get their hands dirty at these organizations and really truly make it an executive mandate of the organization, how crucial it is. The customers I see being successful, the executives are a part of the discussion, the brainstorming, and the solutions, and they're the ones really driving this forward. And so those two things are, I think, what's holding these individuals back.
So it is not just customers are holding back the information, but also the departments, like cross-functional departments.
The interoperability is not there yet.
It's not shared.
And then technology like Sitecore can help them do that, but it's not just the technology side, it's the change of the process. And it's the individual people and the culture to align together on this one initiative.
Absolutely. Is there any brand or brands that you think they're excelling with their personalized experiences?
The good news is we're at an event here, Sitecore Symposium, and I've seen half a dozen brands that had amazing stories. Two that jumped out so far, hopefully you're talking to them, Chick-fil-A, and I think at the Atlantis, the resort.
Oh yeah.
So Atlantis, think about omni-channel, when you get on property, your mobile phone is now talking to you based on stuff you did in your digital channels to get there. Yeah. Have you looked at the spa? We know you looked at the spa. There's a spa appointment at 12 o'clock. Do you want it? Being that kind of interactive through omni-channel and personalization is huge, and they're in that forefront of doing that. Yeah. If you look at Chick-fil-A and you think about personalization and what I like to call utilizing the digital body language of the individuals, not the digital fingerprint, meaning these are anonymous people, but the way they're looking, or menu items and things of that nature, they're personalizing stories from their fan base. Chick-fil-A has a huge fan base, and they're personalizing it based on the food you're looking at and the content you're looking at. And then they're connecting that to your mobile experience when you come 2 days later. It's not decoupling interactions, but it's a continuous conversation. And Chick-fil-A is doing an amazing job of that as well.
from my experience, whenever I'm browsing away, let's say a vendor, and next thing I know, it pops out when I'm on LinkedIn, it pops out when I'm on like Google. So it's always, they keep their name in my mind always fresh. So after some point, after all those interactions, I'm going like, oh, they're interesting. They have interesting content. You know, like it's really important. Omnichannel is probably the most important part of digital initiatives, right?
And if you look at those surveys too, it was interesting. There's a lot of information about when personalization goes bad.
Oh yeah.
And I thought those are some interesting things too, and it's good that people are mindful of that, right? So you just brought up a great point of things keep popping up and popping up. There's a point where that gets annoying.
Yeah, or creepy.
Or creepy, or I'd say disconnected. So I'm a golfer, and I look at some clubs, and I say I go to a store 2 days later and I buy that club. I'm still getting those ads for that same club 2 weeks later when I already own it.
Yeah,
and that's where it's impersonal. Even though it's personalization, and I think that's where individuals have to watch out.
Yeah, or for example, if you are using a service and you are having an issue with them and it is not resolved yet, but you keep seeing all those like promotions,
of course.
It's even making you more, stress out your problem. It doesn't bring the brand, it brings out your problem over and over again.
Right.
Yes,
exactly.
So I'm pretty sure so many people who are watching us right now, they're also trying to thrive in personalized content. So is there any word of wisdom for those folks?
I'd say, first off, it's a cliche, but you got to get process, people, and technology aligned first. First and foremost, you have to build a strong foundation, company-wide. And then once you have that, and by the way, that's not an easy thing. It's easy for me to say, but it's a very difficult thing to implement. But we have many customers that have done it, and once they do it, they're off to the races. But when I say off to the races, don't sprint. Get a couple of quick wins and understand how your foundation is working, and get to know how you can best leverage personalization, how you can best leverage your data, and do a crawl, walk, run approach, and then get there. Don't try to hit a home run right out the bat. Take your time, do it right, because remember, you just brought up a great example of you having a bad experience because they went too quick.
Yeah.
They started personalizing doing this, they didn't realize you were having a bad experience, so take your time and get it right.
So it should be like going small more than having a big bang.
Right. You'll get to the big bang, but you have to get there. It's a process and a journey for our customers to do that.
I definitely agree. It's been very insightful. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Really
It was Venus from CMS-Connected and Joe from Sitecore. Thanks for watching us.
Thank you.